Ms. Brown Murray, first I'd like to say thank you so much for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Today you say you stand before me outraged because your husband has accused you of infidelity while serving in Iraq. Furthermore, you claim he now doubts paternity of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray, you argue that your wife did indeed cheat on you while serving overseas. You contend that there's no way you could be the father because she announced she was pregnant too soon after returning home.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Brown Murray, what is life like overseas for a married woman?
I'll be honest, when you're overseas at first, I mean, there's gonna be temptations, and there's gonna be guys that look good, and there's gonna be guys all around, and you're gonna see guys, but that doesn't mean that you have to cheat and you have to go outside of your marriage.
So you admit that there is temptation?
There's temptation all around, but I didn't cheat and I didn't go outside of my marriage, and I know that in the military there's a rule that we can't do that. So, and I assured him every day I Skyped with him every day. We would Skype every day, and when I wasn't able to Skype, it was because there was a bomb going off or something that I would have to get in the bunker and for hours and hours. So if there wasn't a time, then I would be in the bunker, and then I would get back to him the next day. So I assured him over and over plenty of times.
So you're saying you really tried your best to stay in contact with your husband and to let him know you were being faithful despite the challenges, the danger you were facing overseas?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray, so what is it made you so doubtful about your wife's time overseas?
Well, she went overseas the day after Valentine's Day. My birthday is on the 12th. What made it scary for me, the first time me being alone in another state with no family. My wife is deploying overseas. Don't know if I'm gonna ever see her again. And if I do see her again in one piece, is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on base, the younger men's. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or bad conscience.
Because you feel like she may have wanted to be with someone younger.
Yes, I lost 23 pounds, 25 pounds, not eating, crying. There was an incident, like she said, we on Skype, and I heard this enormous boom. It was so loud, it shook my computer. I remember telling her, well, are they practicing? Americans are practicing, and she smirked at me. She said, this is a real bomb. Wow. My wife, in a calm voice, she reminded me that this is her duty. This is she has to keep a calm level. So.
Ms. Brown Murray, you're there actually facing this danger.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know he was nervous and fearful on this level, or did you feel like he was trying to hide that from you?
I mean, I knew about it at times, but at times he was controlling it just so I wouldn't be so scared while I was over there. But I knew about it.
And how about his fears of you cheating? Were you aware that he was this fearful?
Yes,
that you would cheat?
Yes, because I guess he was scared because I had a friend while I was over there. So, I mean, I built a friendship with a friend, so I guess that's the reason why he was scared.
A male friend?
Yes.
And it was also a judge. While I was there in the apartment complex, I met a few people. This apartment complex has 85% of military people, either still active or not. And this young boy told me, he said, which really, this is when I really got worried. He said, in the military's world, when they overseas, they have a group of people, and that group got to stay with each other. If they're there for 2 years, this is the only group of people you're gonna see for 2 years. He said, yeah, there's married people. He said it could be 40 married ladies on base.
And that's not true. That's not true.
Well, this is what he said. It could be 40 married ladies on base, and he says every last one of them ladies would have sex with another man, because on the base is what happened on this base stays on this base. So picture it, me, she's over there, I'm getting told this. Yeah.
And that heightened your concern.
Of course. I couldn't
So,
even
Miss
drive right.
Brown Murray, did you realize your husband got that piece of information?
Yes, but that's not true. Everybody in the military don't cheat on their spouse, and we don't have a code in the military for cheating.
All right. So, Mr. Murray, let's just be honest. I mean, this situation it's been bothering you. I mean, consuming you so that you've done some research. You started asking some questions and trying to figure out what are the dynamics that go on in the military. And you brought a witness that can attest to just that. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. He's joining us now, anonymously. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you are a former member of the military. Thank you very much for your service as well. And Mr. Murray wanted you to testify today as to the dynamics, the goings-on in the military, because of course, as you know, he has definite concerns as to whether or not his wife was faithful and whether or not her child is his biological child. Can you explain?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I don't want to bring any discredit upon the military because the actions of soldiers, they do not reflect the military. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of times where you join the military and you're away from home. And so the first thing you can do is cling to people who are around you. You develop a camaraderie where pretty much what goes on base stays on base. You know, a lot of times, a lot of married soldiers, they would be out and we would go on what they call TDY, which is temporary duty. You know, the unofficial term for it was temporarily divorced.
Ms. Brown Murray, you had a close friend overseas.
Yes, I did.
Is that who your husband thinks the father of your child really is?
Yes, that's who he thinks that I had sex with.
Wait a minute, let me back that up. When I picked her up in November, we was riding around in the car. I'm asking her, I thought it was kind of odd. Why is he calling you? Oh, just to make sure I'm doing okay. Make sure you're doing okay? Well, was something wrong? No. And then that was the end of that conversation.
We called each other. He called me because he wanted to make sure I was okay, that I made it home alive. He left the deployment before.
It didn't stop right there.
But it didn't stop right there?
Because when we got our next apartment, she's sitting on the couch. She had bought me some Jordans, and I'm wearing my Jordans. She's talking to him. I heard her tell him, he's not stupid. He's not stupid. And, you know, well, she ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? And she said his name. And I said, she said, the man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
What?
And I said, why would he call me stupid? Because you got new shoes and you're excited.
So while you're giving your husband a gift, you've got your friend on the other line on the phone.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
A male friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so your husband thinks you're being flirtatious. And if anyone would know how you sound when you are flirting, it would be your husband.
Yes, but that's not the case.
But you weren't flirting.
No, I wasn't flirting at all with him. It's just the type of person I am. I mean, that's the way I talk on the phone. It's not anything about it. My husband just doesn't understand friendship. He doesn't understand that. Because there are plenty of males that came up to me asking me for sexual relationships and stuff, and I still turned them down, so that's not true.
And I think we need to make it clear that you brought your witness, and he, of course, is testifying to his own personal experience, and you are testifying to your own personal doubt.
Exactly.
So, sir, is it common when, you know, you return home to continue a relationship, friendship with some of your fellow servicemen, even if they're members of the opposite sex and married? Is that common to continue those relationships because of the bonds built while you were serving together?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of times when we go to work, our families aren't there, our wives, our husbands aren't there. So whenever we see each other at work, you know, we can find whatever we can do, you know, whatever place we can go and still continue. You go from city to city, country to country, you meet a lot of different people. And one thing, when you meet civilians, they see someone in the uniform, and when you see them in the uniform, you know, they're attracted to us.
Exactly, money.
And so, Mr. Murray, as you listen to your witness, these are the kinds of ideas that fuel your doubt. And I am sure, Ms. Brown Murray, as you so eloquently state, that there are people that honor their marriages, their relationships, and don't necessarily engage in this type of activity. So I'd like to thank your witness. Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
What has it been like to come home, to make it home alive, come back to your husband, and then you have a beautiful daughter, and he doubts whether or not it's his child?
It's exciting to be able to come home, but with the doubt, trying to meet somebody and have a relationship, you're out there fighting and trying to protect the country. So it's just kind of hard to come back home.
So describe, what is it like at home?
Even with the doubt, he's still a good husband and he's still a good father. He sits there and he takes time out with her. He plays with her. He takes care of her when I'm at work. So even with the doubt, he's still a good father. He still takes care of her.
I have other kids. All my kids are a split image of me. She doesn't too much look like me. My mother says she's bad like me when I was that age. But I don't, you know, for me having kids, and my kids look split image of me, and she doesn't.
That equates to doubt.
Well, I had doubt. I had man's discharge is unusual, and the doctor told me years ago that it had something to do with my sperm cells were weak. When she got home, it happened so fast. She got home. She never was a type of person that had a very big sex appetite. I understood that. It took us a while to have sex. When we did have sex, it was nothing special to brag about. We just had sex. I don't mean it in a rude way. It was just, it is what it is. So she told me.
The dynamics of your sexual relationship had changed.
Yeah, exactly.
When she got back home.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, you'd have to factor in she had been through a pretty traumatic time.
And I took that in consideration too. That's why I never scolded her on that. I never had an attitude.
Okay.
It is what it is. And I remember it, a long day at 10:30 at night. She wakes me up. Now I'm sleepy. She knows not to mess with me when I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy.
Me either.
And then she tells me she's pregnant. She shows me the pregnancy test. Well, Your Honor, you can barely see the line. Barely see the line to come all the way through. You can't hardly see it. So she convinced me, because I seen the line from the beginning to end, a very, very thin line.
Okay.
So I says, well, listen, to confirm this, let's just go on base. And let's get the pregnancy test done there.
And you did?
And we did. And the lady came back, to my surprise, yes, she's pregnant.
And so how soon after she returned home from Iraq did this pregnancy announcement happen?
She came home in November.
Okay.
I'm saying in December.
So that was a few weeks?
Yes.
So given the fact the doctor had already told you you had a low sperm count.
Yeah, that's true.
You've been together for amount of time before she leaves for overseas and she never got pregnant.
Never did.
Then she comes back home and in under a month, she's pregnant.
Right.
You say to yourself,
how can that be?
How can that be?
Right.
This child may not be mine, is what you were thinking. I think it's time we get to results. Are we ready? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Brown Murray v. Murray, as it pertains to whether Mr. Murray is the biological father of 2-year-old Ty Murray. Mr. Murray, it has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think my niece.
Ms. Brewington, you are here to prove your 3-year-old son, Giovanni, is Mr. Lee's biological child, and you claim Mr. Lee has been a father to your son since the day he was born and is denying paternity because he wants to avoid paying child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lee, you say you've known from day one Giovanni was not your son, and you are here to prove Ms. Brewington is a liar and has been using you for money. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Brewington, you claim you are 100% certain that Mr. Lee is the father, and can you tell me how you know?
Yes, Your Honor. I am without a doubt 100% certain that he is my son's father. Not only was I only sleeping with him, we were actually working on our relationship. We already have a child from a previous situation. We got back together. We're working on us. So when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't think it was going to be a shock or a surprise or anything like that.
And you say you know 100% you're not the biological father of Giovanni.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
I want to know why you have doubt.
At the time that Gio was conceived, we were not having no type of intercourse. We were not cool at the moment.
You don't believe you were working on the relationship at the time Giovanni was conceived?
No, not at all.
You weren't together?
No, not at all.
Your Honor, I was living with him. We were living in the same household, in the same bed.
Were you living in the same house?
Around the time, yes.
But you weren't together?
Exactly.
So were you sharing a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And fluids.
No.
Clearly, yes, clearly. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
No, ma'am.
I will say, although she did not say it as eloquently as I would have liked, you can still be sexually active with one another and not be in a relationship. So I guess this does beg the question, were you still having sex?
At the time of conceivement, no.
So you're saying during the window of time when Giovanni was conceived, you are certain that even though Ms. Brewington lived in your house and shared your bed, you weren't intimate with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I conceived my son in February. My birthday is February 1st.
All right.
And from the 1st until about Valentine's Day, we were in there.
Take me back to, listen.
Not at all, not at all.
Take me back to the day you found out you were pregnant.
Okay, I found out that I was pregnant. I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control. They said, oh, you actually missed your last shot. I didn't even realize it. They said that they had to do a pregnancy test before they could go ahead with the birth control. So I went ahead, they did a pregnancy test. It came up positive. I told him, he did not believe me at all. He went out and got 3 pregnancy tests, made me take all of them. They were all positive. And he was like, well, that's not my baby because we didn't have sex. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We've been having sex. And then the last time we probably had sex was Valentine's Day, maybe a few days after. I'm like, this is our whole love baby.
Not.
Like, no, come on now. My son was due.
Definitely not.
He was born in November.
So you seem so certain, Mr. Lee.
I do, because I'm going to explain it to you, Your Honor. How she said her birthday is the 2nd of February.
It's not.
Her birthday's on the 2nd of February.
My birthday's on the 1st of February.
2nd.
My birthday is on the, how you gonna tell me what day I was born? I was born on the 1st of February.
He said it's the 2nd.
Yeah. Look, it's close. It's the same.
He around there just like he was around. Exactly. See, exactly.
So,
exactly. His sperm is like that too.
Because she came to my house complaining about how I didn't say happy birthday, that I didn't get nothing for her birthday, and I didn't. Because
and then he
the simple
turned
reason.
around and decided to treat me for my birthday, Your Honor. Yes, okay, for the next 2 weeks, thank you.
No, we not cool. Why would I say happy birthday? You say happy birthday to people you like.
Well, go ahead and say how you feel then.
Yeah. I wasn't happy, so happy birthday didn't fit.
Okay, so now understood this. So you both have a different story about what happened in the relationship. So let's fast forward to the birth. Throughout this pregnancy, as you prepared for the birth of Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No, he was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
What kind of denial is this? Mr. Lee, you taking denial too far.
Exactly.
This is what it was. She was trying to get back with me, but I wasn't, so she probably felt like if we have a child, we might work out.
As soon as he found out that my son was a boy, he's like, oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. I love him. That's my son. I need to be there.
So take me to the day you gave birth to Giovanni. Was Mr. Lee there?
He came after I had given birth because he had work, but he showed right up. He actually didn't even, they asked about the birth certificate and everything. He signed the birth certificate. He named my son. He was like, no, I'm not letting you give my son no dumb name. I'm naming him. I actually told him I was like, you don't want to wait until we do a DNA test. I offered the DNA test in the hospital.
She did not say that, Your Honor. She did not say that.
But you signed the birth certificate, right?
Yes, I did.
If you had all this denial and you say she eating fast food and this isn't even a pregnancy, but then you get there and execute a birth certificate?
It was the right thing at that moment. We already had a previous child, like I said, so...
You just go around signing birth certificates.
Because I'm gonna be around a child, I might as well.
Kids
It's not like I can come there and...
Just because he had one doesn't mean that he needed to collect them all. If he didn't think that was his child, he should not have done that.
You said that?
In my head, it was like, we already had a previous child. I'm gonna be in this child's life regardless because...
You're making an execution of a birth certificate sound like a consolation prize or a consolation move. Well, since I'm gonna do this, I might as well. That's not why you sign a birth certificate.
I didn't know I couldn't take my name back off of it. I wasn't aware of that. Or else I wouldn't have signed it. If I wasn't
So you weren't aware of the law?
Legal document.
Well, what I'm saying is, it just doesn't make any sense that you had absolutely no thought that this child could be yours, and then you walk in and you just say, well, I might as well just sign the birth certificate like you supersizing your fries or something. That doesn't make sense.
Well,
and then, Ms. Brewington, it doesn't really make sense to me is why are you offering him a DNA test if you are 100% sure?
That was because I was 100% sure. If he has any doubts, I carried the baby, I birthed the baby. If you have any doubts, go ahead. I don't mind making you look stupid. That's why I'm here now.
Okay, so your point is I'm tired of hearing the denial. If you want a DNA test, let's take it now because I know you're the father.
Exactly.
Well, Your Honor,
and then when she offered the DNA test, why didn't you take it?
I figured when I signed it, I knew she was gonna put me on child support because I was already on child support. Now, with the previous child that we had, I had to do a DNA test at the child support services. I figured if I sign it, they're gonna take me right off after I do the DNA test. We came there, and then they said, no, we don't do a DNA test because you already signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
She kept saying, it's not the case. They told me right away we don't do that.
Listen, Mr. Lee, you gonna learn making babies in the country and don't know the laws.
Yeah.
Because once you sign that birth certificate, you're the legal father.
That's what they told me.
You had done what is called an acknowledgement of paternity.
Well, I had another reason I did not think that it was mine is one of her friends, a good friend of her, actually told me that I wasn't the father.
Really?
She told me that she knows who's the
told
father.
him that because she wanted to sleep with him.
I'm still talking.
I actually caught them sleeping together.
What? Oh, so that's why you think this person was just telling him these lies.
Because it was shade the whole time because he was sleeping with her and she knew that if we stopped dealing with each other, because I told her we were working on us, and she knew that if we stopped dealing with each other, then she was free to go and be with their little maybe baby that they might have.
We never.
What?
Your Honor.
What did the friend tell you, Mr. Lee?
She told me that she actually is friends with the dude who is the father and that he's trying to get in contact with Brittany, but she keeps ignoring him and wants me to be the dad since I'm there already. But for me, it didn't make a change. It was just more verification for me because it didn't change nothing. It wouldn't take me off child support. It wouldn't change the situation with the child.
Your
It's
Honor,
only more information I could use.
His whole life has been about getting off of child support, honestly. That's what he talks about all day long. If he thought, it was a chance, because I bought home DNA tests as well. He told me he didn't trust me to swab his mouth.
No.
He didn't trust me to put the correct DNA into the box.
No. It's a home test. Who does that? And she told me herself I wasn't the father, so.
I told him that in anger, Your Honor.
Multiple times.
So
I'm
you
wrong for
know
that.
when you ring that bell, you can't unring it. That is a statement you can't take back.
But he looks exactly like him. And then, yes, I say it, and then if he ever tries to run with it, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get a DNA. That's their baby. That's his baby picture. Look.
So,
But look at
so
that.
you're saying this is a picture of Giovanni on the left. Oh, he is adorable.
And that's Jay
And this
Jarrell.
is Mr. Lee as a child on the right.
Yes.
And you say you see a definite resemblance.
Between them two, yes.
They're light skinned.
When you look at this beautiful young boy, you really don't believe he's yours now that he's here in the world.
No. I don't really see too much of me. Maybe, yeah, like I said, we light skinned. We got curls, but other than that, it could be anybody's.
They got the same
And-
hairline, nose.
And so, but after you sign the birth certificate, do you then go forward being a father to Giovanni? Like, do you step up for him?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're
I've been there.
obviously responsible
He is
as it
around.
relates to child support because you signed the birth certificate.
I'm always there. I've never not been there.
You're
Yes.
the man he knows to be his
His
dad.
father.
Yes, he calls me daddy.
Calls you daddy.
Yes, yes.
With all of that,
Yes.
you still don't believe he's your biological son.
No.
Your Honor, that is his baby. And I can't wait, because the devil is a liar and this is Lucifer, so stop. No, I'm not.
Well, you might be the devil then. We'll see.
You all are a lot. And you talking about him like a dog, Miss Brewington. You know you love that man. It's so obvious. I don't know why we in here. You good though. You got all the sayings and you got all the snap.
I'm just saying.
And all you gonna do is
Just
snap
that.
back. Right back over there.
No, Your Honor,
Because
I
you
don't want
love
that.
that man. Miss Brewington, I can see the passion in you. And even though you're making jokes and he's Lucifer, this isn't easy. No mother wants to have a son, 3 years old, a beautiful baby like that, and consistently have the man you believe to be his father deny him, have to deal with all of this drama. I knew
shouldn't have slept
behind
around.
all of the laughter and all of
It's
this.
not right. It's not right. As you put me through this.
Right.
It's not at all. I really do care
Look,
about
if you don't want that, you should keep your legs closed. That's all it is.
Then that means she wouldn't be having sex with you either.
Well, then she.
Which,
if it was
hold
just
on,
me, she
hold
would've known
on,
what to
hold
talk.
on, Mr. Lee. Before you condemn, you also have to understand the part you had to
Oh,
play.
yeah,
in.
yeah, I do.
Because Giovanni's 3. He calls you daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I could only imagine if his soul and spirit could truly process the fact that the man that I look at and I say, Daddy, when I come running up,
Right.
is standing in a courtroom right now, clowning my mother, but also denying me. And see, we have to think about that. It's not always jokes, and I always say that we don't clown in here because we're not running a circus.
All right.
This really is a courtroom where we try to understand whether or not someone is a child's father, because that is important information. I just had to say that because Giovanni deserves to know. And when it comes to his life and his paternity, he deserves there to be a level of respect, decorum surrounding this result, because whether it goes either way, this child still has to live with it. Let's go to the result. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Brewington versus Lee, when it comes to 3-year-old Giovanni Lee, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Hold up.
I already knew it. I told you.
Don't look at me like that. I don't know God's
Who
plan.
else? It was you that
Did
was.
you just
do that.
inject God in this?
I did not put him in this. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just, hold on. Now, the plan of Giovanni being on this earth might be God's, but the lie you told about his paternity is your own. So just claim it. So let's just own it. Because you don't call this man everything but a child of God.
Damn, I put you through a lot.
It's all good.
This is 3 years.
I am
3 years.
so sorry.
I have to ask you, do you know who his biological father is?
I have an idea.
You just have an idea.
I have an idea.
I want you to bring him to this courtroom. And I want you to submit to this DNA testing again. And I want you to commit yourself to getting this answer for your child.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm fine with that.
One reason why this courtroom is so important is because it meets people where they are, and then it takes them where they need to go. Because it takes you into the truth. That's all I deliver all day is truth. And I'm gonna be honest, Ms. Brewington, this was not the news you probably expected or wanted, but it's the news you needed. Because you're not here on this earth to be a liar. You're not here on this earth to live in denial. Because that cuts off the possibilities for your life. Now you're living in the truth.